Why and how did I have a light stroke and Bell's palsy episode less than 24 hours after having my baby? First of all, it is very common for women to have a stroke or Bell's palsy in the third trimester when the baby's ready to come or within 6 weeks after giving birth. I did not know that this was a possibility whatsoever. Like, I felt so scared and alone and defeated, honestly, when I was going through it, until I saw the responses from all the women who had experienced the same thing when I shared my first video. So many women who were and are right now still going through just being embarrassed of having this issue, fearful for what's going to happen next, lonely because no one really talks about this, and just full of insecurities, including me, because let's be honest, it feels like everyone is so focused on the baby and making sure the baby is okay that we can be put in a position where we feel insignificant, devalued, and just plain left out. For me, I believe those feelings were a part of what put me in the hospital to begin with. I went in to give birth December 17th, which was a Saturday morning, after having contractions since Thursday. They put me on Pitocin to help keep the contractions going. So they decided to induce me and trying to put a balloon in me several times, which was so painful, especially because we found out my cervix is so far back and tilted. It was really hard for them to get to it. So I had to get put on the epidural really early on. I think it was about 12 hours later, I had only dilated 3 centimeters and then I closed right back up. And Tiana was stuck down in my canal for God only knows how long, for days, because when she came out, her head was a little deformed. But when they gave me the Pitocin, she shot right back up. Like, she went straight back way high. And they didn't understand why until after 36 hours of trying to induce, when they finally decided to do the C-section. At that point, they put me on anesthesia and it was fine. It went good. Then after the C-section, the doctor realized that if Tiana would have tried to come out any further, she would have really gotten stuck and it would cause a lot more problems. So I can never have a natural birth. That's why my body didn't allow me to dilate, and that's why Tiana shot up. Clever girl. The funny thing is, the doctor did say that my husband must have really wanted me to get pregnant for his sperm to get up in there and impregnate me. Anyways, I started breastfeeding for about 15 minutes because then I started cramping and the anesthesia, the epidural, was wearing off. Tiana latched on, she was doing great, but it hurt so bad. And they still had me on Pitocin. They said they couldn't take me off Pitocin right away because I was on it for so long and they didn't want to take the chance of me having a heart attack. So I was on it for another 11 hours, feeling contractions with a C-section, major surgery, screaming and crying in pain. I literally don't remember if I was like taking naps or I was passing out from the pain. It was so bad and it was such a long period of time. Just to be told the next day that I had to figure out how to stay up and take care of Tiana so that they could send me home with her because she was perfectly normal and healthy and fine. I appreciated the push and the vote of confidence, but I didn't feel ready. And I didn't feel like I could say anything about not being ready because there was such this huge expectation of what I was supposed to do as a mother. Like, I was supposed to just push myself aside completely for my child. And that's what we do as parents, right? We deny ourselves so much, so many times to be able to give our children what they need. But like I mentioned before, we can't give what we don't have. So I was emotional, stressed, and many things were coming my way that just made me not feel good enough. And I broke. I had a crazy crying spell. And after, boom, my face just started drooping. And I wasn't able to speak. I couldn't get like my thoughts to match what I wanted to do. It just would not come out. I called the ambulance. They came. They took me to the hospital. My blood pressure was like 200 and something over 100 something. It was crazy high. There was never an exact determination of what could have caused this to happen. It could have been the pregnancy, stress, diabetes, blood pressure, or all of it. At the end, I was treated for a light stroke, a Bell's palsy episode, eclampsia. Even though tests proved that I didn't have eclampsia or any damage in my brain or any permanent damage or existing damage to any of my organs, everything came out very clear. There was just so many things that were physically happening with my face that gave signal that it was a stroke and Bell's palsy episode, for sure. If I have learned anything from this experience, it's that it really doesn't matter what's going on, what changes are occurring in our lives. It is not selfish to make sure that you're okay before you decide to give to someone else. Because at the end of the day, if you give everything you have to others and leave nothing for yourself, then that is exactly what you'll have. Exactly what you'll feel like, talk like, walk like, and act like. And your body knows it best. Your body will shut you down in order to protect the precious life that you've been given before it allows you to continue to destroy it. And for that, I am so grateful. Now I want to make something clear. I didn't do this to me. It happened. Life happens. But if I don't decide to make the most of what happens to me, then I'd probably still be sitting in that hospital screaming and crying with my hope lost and my faith taken away. I refuse to let the attacks made on my life keep me from the favor that God has placed on me. I hope you don't either. And just know that sometimes it's hard, but it's worth it because you're worth it. Whoa, what was that? You sound like a horse, good. I'm so happy to be here with you. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Oh, tell me about it. Tell me about it.